Hi. Okay. Thank you for being here and for giving me grace as I figure out how to navigate this. I made a recording for my Lang 120 classes and listened to some of it and realized how much I say. I'm going to try not to do that to you guys, but I just did it. Anyway, yes. So I wanted to walk you through the materials that we're going to be looking at, particularly in the next week, but also throughout the rest of this semester, and talk to you about how it's going to look and what we're going to use and what we're going to do. I'm going to start with the email that I sent you. If you have little tabs in your inbox, my emails probably go to updates, so check that if you haven't been getting the emails. I sent you one with an updated schedule and tomorrow's plan. When you look at this, I've got a link, but you might have a little player. I recorded this email as well. I read it, so there are less ums for sure. So I'm working to try and incorporate audiovisual components into the materials that I send you. So yes, you can listen to this email as well as read it. The links are in the text itself, and I want to look at some of those with you today. I updated our class schedule, and that's where we're going to start. I also want to take a quick look at the grading contract so you can see some of the things I'm thinking about. You can make comments on these documents, so weigh in. Also, remind, most of you have joined, and that's wonderful. If you haven't had a chance to do that, do that. I'll show you what it looks like. So if you click on it, it comes up, and it gives you the option to sign up with Google or use your number or your email address. I believe that it works the same way no matter what you do. I was recommending phone because my goal with this app is to enable us to have a way to text each other. Quick things like I can send you a text that says, I posted a video, or let's get on Google Docs if you're available, or yes, check your email. I just sent you one. So do that if you haven't already, and then yes, that will be good to go. So I updated our Moodle page. I worked on this a little bit over the break. I put our assignments in toggle number 2. So I put all those together up at the top there for you in one place. Now we're going to revisit and adjust some of these. I am recommending that we might even get rid of this one, the short essay number 3, and just kind of focus on work on the primary source analysis, and then correspond to each other in substantial ways through informal forums and talk about the text as we would in class. But it also requires you to be online a little bit more. So I want to kind of reduce some of the amount of work there is in order to compensate for that. We have an updated class schedule right here in the top of the class documents toggle. I've also updated the grading contract. So one thing at a time, I've got a list I'm working from here. Let's look at the class schedule together. This is also linked in the email that I sent you. So far, so good with my internet. I hope that yours is behaving as well. Okay, so I do a little bit of explaining here and talk about synchronous activities versus asynchronous activities. We're going to do mostly asynchronous activities, which are ways that you can do the work on your own time, maybe respond to a forum, work on the text, and share your thoughts with those. Not during class time altogether, but I have incorporated a few synchronous activities for those of us who have the capability to do that. It's not all video or video conferencing, although we can do a little bit of that as well. It gets a little cumbersome, and sometimes the quality is not so great. Other ways we can do synchronous activities is all to be on a Moodle forum at the same time, and you'll see I've done a little bit of that, or all to get on a Google Doc at the same time and crowdsource some information when we've all looked at different texts, and then we can pool our resources. So those are things that would happen during class time for for those of you who can make it. While I realize there are things that have come up and you might have to work or you may not be able to keep the same schedule, I want to make allowances for that. But I also want to do some things during the class time so that we can preserve a bit of a schedule and some structure to our lives as possible. That we'll talk about this with the grading contract, but attendance is going to be tied to something that you can do on your own time more than showing up for the synchronous activities, just to make it fair for anybody who isn't able to show up at a class time when we have a synchronous activity. I'm sure you're hearing words like these in a lot of your classes right now. So yes, let me know what your thoughts are and any questions or concerns that you have with this. So this is, you'll see I have done my best to actually go day by day. So this is going to be your go-to document to figure out what we're doing when and what you're responsible for. Different from some of the other syllabi you may have encountered. The way I'm working with this one is that anything that's listed on the day is what you're going to work on for that class day, whether it's forums or readings or discussions on Google Docs. It'll be something that you will do that day and you won't have to prepare beforehand. So a lot of the work itself is going to happen in real time. Whether you submit it all at the same time or not. So kind of know that and let me know if anything's confusing when it comes to kind of what do I need to do to prepare. We'll be working things one at a time and they'll build up to eventually this essay with using primary sources and your portfolio, which we still want to talk about how we're going to do that. So I'm linking things as we encounter them and as I update them on Moodle. I haven't updated the whole plan for the rest of the semester, but this is what it will look like as you kind of scroll down and you see I've given information for all the way to May. There are some open days here because I want to allow for drift. If we want more time to cover any one thing or if an activity takes more time, we've got the wiggle room to do that as we get towards the end of the semester. You can make copies. You can make comments on this document as well. So ask questions or point out some things or clarify some things for me too. Oops. So here you can look at what I have planned for Monday. It's watching this and also doing a check-in free write. All of these things are linked to Moodle or a Google Doc where you can access the information. I want your feedback on the grading contract, so that's what I'll be asking you to do tomorrow, Monday. Give me some of that feedback, and then communicate with me in a journal about some specifics. And so let me explain that too. What my thought is for us to organize as possible into small groups of 3 or 4, and then in that way we can kind of preserve what we were doing in class a lot, where there's so many texts to read. We can divide them out into those small groups, and those small groups kind of present through Moodle forums their reflections on those texts, how they relate, what they noticed, how they connect, and then look at other groups who have done different texts. And in that way, we continue to pool our resources and divide the work between each other. And get each other's feedback and insights and ideas in a healthy way on these texts. So what I'm asking you to do between now and Monday is to read through the schedule. Well, between now and Monday. Actually, between now and then on Monday, and then you'll submit your response to me on Monday, is to think about what the class looks like, what your questions are, and who you want to work with. You've already developed relationships in the class, and you might have some idea of who you might want to work with, and then those people would be the ones, groups of 3 or 4, that you would connect with in the ways that you connect. So you can use Remind for that, or email, or other ways that you've already connected with each other when you've had these small group projects to do. Let me know your thoughts about that and how you think it will work. You also have the option, if you want to work alone, you can do that. Just let me know in the journal sometime tomorrow. Or actually, it's going to be today by the time you're watching this video. That's confusing, sorry. So let's go to Moodle. we've looked at the schedule. Let's briefly look at the grading contract and then look at the work that I've laid out for you. Okay, so grading contract. I've made some comments in this. I sent it to you as a link. Some of you have already looked at it, which is awesome. And just some suggestions that I think make sense, but I want to know if you think they make sense too. So I've got some proposals. Short forum participation, that's not tied to the class time at all, but just as you participate in short forums in any way of any length, then you get, that counts towards your attendance. I'm thinking there'll be a minimum of 7 or so of these, and then yes, they will be, sometimes they'll be connected to what we're reading, sometimes they'll be just check-ins, and you'll be able to submit anything in response to that. Yes, you'll see that I'm suggesting that because we're going to be crowdsourcing, sharing information, writing on Google Docs together, that I want to drop the last short essay. And I have a different idea of how we might do the cultural reflection as well. So let me show you those on Moodle. And yes, give me your thoughts. Thank you, Lola. Okay. All right, so we'll be revisiting that throughout. So here in toggle number 2, I've moved some things up. I showed you that already. Right below that, in toggle number 3, I'm starting a collection of the forums and crowdsourced materials that we'll work together with, sometimes synchronously, sometimes on your own time, sometimes in your small groups that you will have access to. So this is our first forum, and it's the check-in, and it's sort of what I want you to do today after you watch this. It's about stories. We're kind of circling back around to stories, as you'll see if you look at the schedule. We're going to focus again on stories and how and why we tell them. We've got a number of them, the short ones, to look at and talk about. So I wanted you to think about it for yourself. What kind of stories are you telling these days? Tell us a story, and tell it in any way or any language that you want to. It can be audio, it can be visual, it can be a picture from your camera, or you can describe it in words. You'll notice that I did a recording for you on the email. You can do that for the forums as well. So I'm going to do a forum and show you how to do it. So I'm telling a story of our future, at least in terms of Humanities 124, as best I can see it right now. So if you notice, I press this little button. It gives me a lot of options. I can submit a picture, an image. I can submit a video or audio file. So if you've got something on your phone and you can get that onto your computer, you can do it that way. Or if you've got it on your phone and you're using Moodle on your phone, you can do it that way. Here is one, if you've got a microphone with your phone or computer, you can record an audio file. And you can do the same thing if you have a webcam. And it gives you the option to just drop that right in. So I'll show you how it works. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to press that button there and start recording. So the story I am telling is a hopeful one of Humanities 124 and how we are going to organize ourselves and continue our community and discussion. Okay, so I stop that recording. It lets you listen to it and see if you want to attach it or not. If it's okay with you, you attach that recording and it goes right there. And you can still type, or you can still even add images or other things as well to these forum posts. So there's lots of different ways. My goal is to make it easy, convenient, and user-friendly, and for you to be able to do it on the go or as you are yes, even sitting at home or navigating your daily life these days. So then I will post it to the forum, and it gives me the little recording, and then you can see what I've posted, and we can all see what each other has posted, and we can then participate in discussion. We can reply to these posts as well. And so that's a neat feature that we will use to continue our discussions this semester. So that's the first one that you'll do today. Tell us a story. I look forward to seeing what you come up with and what you put here. Back to Moodle. Okay. So that is also sort of the same idea of the attendance forums, where it's a very loose prompt and you can respond in any way, in any format, at any length that you would like to. Here is a more focused journal, and this is the one you will do today for me. Basically, in this one, I'm asking for your questions, comments, and thoughts about how we might continue our work. I really want to know what you think, and what you think will work and what you think won't work, and we can go from there. This is the same kind of thing. When you start a journal entry, you also have that toggle that you can press to get more options, and I'm open to any format at this point. I'll let you know if there are assignments that I want you to write for. That analysis primary source essay is one of them, but I am open to the format that works best for you and whatever your capability is for a lot of the things that we're going to do going forward. So there's that one. And then my proposal for cultural things would be this, that we kind of do a forum sharing things that we find at our fingertips. And, sorry, I opened that in a new window. And that we do a public forum so that we can see what each other is posting and what you are thinking about. And now those could be documentaries, or I can even suggest some documentaries to look at, and you share what you're finding, music, writing, or a website. I think it should be contemporary because we're looking at our world really kind of through the lens of what we're learning from the ancient world. So, so it should be contemporary, but it should connect back to some of the things that we are talking about with regard to the ancient world. So that's an idea for that. I'm open to what your thoughts are as well. Although, yes, this could prove very interesting. And it also gives you material that you might want to develop into a small presentation of your own, because we want to think about what we want to do with that A grade for the contract. But I might be getting ahead of myself with all of this. Tell me your thoughts and we will go from there. So that's really what I want to show you. Up here in these toggles are some suggestions and some ways of moving forward. I wanted to show you those tools of how you could record and submit pictures and things like that. And I'm continuing to link our assignments to the class schedule as well. This is an important document. Now on Wednesday, those of you who can make it, we're going to get together in a video conference with HUM124, who is a digital designer from Zimbabwe, and his main work has been on African alphabets, and that ties in directly to what we're looking at in terms of language and indigenous ways of speaking and writing that are not necessarily alphabetic. And so it's fascinating. So that's going to be our activity for Wednesday, and it will happen during our class time at 11. It will be through Zoom. So stay tuned for an invite to that and a way you can download that free app and join in that conversation as well. And it will be interactive. You'll get to ask him questions and think about some of the work that he's doing. So that's what we're going to do on Wednesday. And it ties into then where we're going to go with the ways that we tell our stories. We're going to continue to look at indigenous stories. We can compare and contrast them with some of the ways indigenous people are telling their stories now, stories that are rooted in an ancient culture and ancient context, and look at what's happening. So that's where we're going to go on Friday, and by then you'll have sort of weighed in with your thoughts. We will go with the small group idea if that works for you, and divide up some of these legends and do a forum that will be on your own time in your small groups for Wednesday. Okay, so going through the page, then you'll see that there are things to do and things to watch every day. I'm still working on the links and making that all very accessible to you at this point, so bear with me. Thank you for listening to me through all of this. Please let me know what your questions and comments are. The last thing I want to show you is in the email. It is the link to my calendar. So if you click on that, you will get my calendar and office hour appointments. So you'll see this week I have some office hour slots. I've done that through the rest of the semester. They're the same as my office hours were when we were on campus. So if you want to meet with me, I can do Skype, I can do Google Hangouts, we can do Google Doc, whatever works for you. But yes, reach out, connect, and we can talk together. All right, I think that's it. I'm sure I've left some things out. Thanks for listening, and know that I'm thinking of you, and I want all of you to be safe and healthy and take good care of yourselves and your loved ones. And yeah, I'm grateful that I get to kind of connect with you this way, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts on all this. All right, peace. I will talk to you soon.